things that I wanted to take from what you guys were saying, and I want to was identify your landmines. You know, you have to identify what your landmines are so that you can tell the other person that you're trying to have a relationship with your landmines. You know, so I thought that was like great advice. And not everybody's gonna like what you say. You know, so another thing I got from you guys was that when you love somebody, you know, you're not always gonna say what they want to hear. You know, so I think people have to be willing to take that in, and also not everything needs a response right away. So these are just a few little nuggets that you guys just gave away right here. You know, and you know, this is huge for, you know, and we're getting this out on a great platform to try and touch other people to understand.
Yeah. I just think I'd like to add one more thing to that situation. It's one of the other biggest anti exposure to these landmines is just something simple as holding things in. And I think we, you know, both genders, we do it. You know, and I feel like that was one of the biggest things early on in our relationship. If you have somebody that's kind of in tune with what's going on with you emotionally, you know, like I had to pull my wife aside a few times, you know, several times where, you know, like I could just tell something was bothering her, but she didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to tell me, like, but I was so lost as a man, right? I was so lost that I didn't even know it was me. You know, like I'm so in my head, I'm just trying to figure out, I'm going through all these different scenarios, trying to figure out what's wrong, you know, like what's bothering her. I know something's bothering her. She won't tell me what it is, but I know something's bothering her, you know? So I'm left to my own head going through all kinds of different things until I eventually get her to open up and tell me like what's bothering her. And I guess most of the time, you know, it was me. It was something I did or said. I didn't even know I caused the problem. So I feel like that's, you know, one of the biggest things on both sides. Yeah. Is, you know, if you're upset about something, you got your feelings hurt, whatever the situation is, angry, don't keep it to yourself and just let it, you know, think that's just going to go away. I've actually did that in our relationship too. There was an incident that happened, and I just decided to just let it go. You know, I decided, you know what, it's all good. I'm just going to forget about it. Just let it go. But what it actually ended up happening is, it actually ended up later on, it came back and I exploded about it. Oh, wow. You know, it came back. When I say exploded, I mean, of course not, you know, violently or anything, but it definitely came out where I said some things, reacted, you know, ways that I really, you know, weren't becoming of me or a healthy relationship. But I had to go back afterwards and talk to her, that, you know what, the reason I exploded like that is because I should have talked to you about this then, but I didn't.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Times, you know, if you've been through abuse, and I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I'm a survivor of domestic violence that I went through in my first marriage, and so a lot of times you're in survival, and that is the other thing that you need to share with your partner too, on the importance of understanding. Okay. That person's shutting down. Why is my partner shutting down? Is it a trigger, or is that their coping mechanism to dealing with the situation at that time? Or are they they don't want to be bothered with it? And so I had to also explain to Brandon is that, you know, when you've been through trauma, when you've been through domestic violence, in my previous, he's never put his hands on me, in my previous marriage, and back to submission, I was the woman and the man in my first marriage. And you think, what do you mean you were the woman and the man? Well, I had a very passive husband, ex-husband. And so I had to assume the role, like your mother, I had to assume the role of the bills and taking care of all this stuff. So for me to learn back how to fall back as a wife in my proper role in this marriage, it took some work. It took some processing, because at the end of the day, I was so used to 14 years of being.
That's a lot of trauma.
being, you know, I was so used to 14 years of being in the making the major decision.
Yes.
Paying the bill, you know, doing the role that I wasn't or God ordained to do.
Yeah.
God didn't ordain women
No.
to lead.
No.
God has specifically defined us as helpmates.
Yes.
You know, that doesn't mean to be trampled on.
Yeah.
But when,
Exactly.
when you realize,
I like what I'm hearing right now.
he's like, "Ooh."
He's
But,
like, yes.
you know, but you know what I mean? You have to understand that as a woman, yes, you're right. We do submit to, like he was saying, you're more willing to submit to a man who's submitted to God.
Yes. Yes.
I'm more
Absolutely.
willing to submit to Brandon than I would be to someone who's not submissive.
I got you.
And so
Yep.
I had to pretty much reprogram my thoughts and my way of thinking and my way of processing things.
Yeah.
To then for our marriage to be healthy and our marriage to be strong and our marriage to be where it is. It wasn't overnight that this process took place. It's through time. It's through, okay, where am I accountable in this situation? Did I handle that situation appropriately in my role as a wife and as a woman and as a mother? Or am I overstepping and handling a situation that's not that there's roles, but you know, as a leader, I shouldn't be making that decision. The final decision.
Yeah.
We can discuss a decision together.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, God gave him that lead as he follows God's, you know.
Yes.
That's
yes.
such a great point. There's a scripture, and I don't know how it goes exactly, but it's something like the children belong to the wife belongs to the husband, and the husband belongs to God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you just kind of touched upon that. You need a man who's submissive to God in order for you to submit to him, and the children should follow suit. They should submit to you. That's the perfect household family. That is exactly the way it should be. You're absolutely right, and that was a great point that you touched upon. It's so awesome.
You were kind of on that track, Chris, with your, like, you know, that's kind of what you wanted, right, from your relationship with your son's mother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm as submissive to God as I should be.
But maybe that was the issue.
Right. Well, you're right. That could have been the issue.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's why she didn't want to submit.
Maybe she didn't see me in that submission, you know, in that submissive place to God in order for her to submit, you know?
Yeah. Just something to think about. Food for thought.
Yeah.
You know,
You mentioned that. I gotta say something. I know she's over here about to. She's probably about to elbow me to speak. But I did want to mention, first off, I did want to second what you said about the about that being very attractive on a woman, and I think, you know, like, I have to use my wife as an example of her being, you know, she's a very submissive woman, but at the same time, she's probably the strongest woman that I have ever known in my life.
Yes, you can be so you can be submissive and strong.
Yes,
so that's a good point.
Yes, and
that's a great point.
And it's part of what I feel is part of what the reason why I just view her, and so many people view her, is just this amazing woman, right?
Yes,
but on top of it, I had, you know, when you mentioned that, I had to bring it up, man. Because not too long ago, I don't know if it was a year or something ago, like 2 years, I don't know, but we were having an issue, you know, and it was in an area in that, you know, we kind of consider like a man area, right? Okay. And we were kind of bumping heads on the situation, you know, and I'm you know, wanting to stand, you know, like, you know, I'm the man. This is my area. You know what I mean? You know? Right. I'm the leader.
Yeah, ego.
You know?
Hello, ego.
I'm being honest.
Where you been?
I'm trying to be transparent, you know.
Nice. Beautiful.
But man, she ended up checking me so hard when she told me. She said, she told me, she said, I think the first question was, it was a pretty big decision we were getting ready to make. And I think the first question where she stopped me, we get on our ego and everything, you're all kind of reared up, and she's, but look, did you pray on that? And I've you know, not that I never lie, but you know, I just feel like lies is one of the worst things that you can do, right? Yeah. So I think, you know, like I wanted to just yeah. but I couldn't, right? So I'm just like in my tracks, you know, I'm like couldn't say nothing. She stopped me in my tracks. And then she followed that up. She's looking at me, so she knew, of course, that I didn't, right? Wow. And then she says to me, she goes, How do you expect me to follow you if you're not following God?
Ooh. And we need that. We need a woman to check us sometimes.
Man, and it just completely like just deflated me, just poked me and just pulled all the air out of me.
I need some time, hon. Let me right, like let me go take a. I gotta call a time out. Let me go. I gotta burn one.
You know, I'm just like I'm like, you know, when you're bumping heads with somebody, the worst thing is when you realize they are right? Yes. You know, there's nothing worse than that. You know, but so it was just to be hit with that she's right. You know, so I had to just completely stop and fall back and reassess myself and realize like how she's right. Like how am I going to lead if I'm not letting God lead me?
And she's right there. She's playing her role. She's being a helper. She's like, I'm helping you get that relationship back with God. I'm helping you. Wow, look at that. That's a pure example. You know, I'm gonna help you realize how powerful prayer is. That's her. She's doing her job.
And then like you were saying, you know, like both of you guys were saying, that probably could have been the biggest key and the reason why she wasn't submissive.
Could be.
So, and then, you know, like you mentioned earlier, I wanted to say something. You know, you were talking about how, you know, what about people that aren't believers, right? But the funny thing about the Bible is so right about so many things. I don't even care what you believe or don't believe. You know, you could just be somebody that straight believe in straight science. You know, if you're straight science, you know. But the way I believe in, I'm a science person too. And I believe in God, you know, and I believe in the Bible. But the funniest thing to me is the deeper you get in science, the closer it proves the Bible right.
Remember we spoke about that?
We did talk about that.
So, and that being said, you know, when you say like, you know, there's a lot behind that. When you say like, if I was letting God lead me, there's a lot behind that. You know, there's different things that the Bible, you know, Bible, not that I'm, you know, not that I know the Bible inside and out, but I try to learn, right? Yeah. But there's so many things about following the Bible and trying to be like Christ that would change the way you move,
right?
The way you act, the way you talk to people, the way you know, like the way you handle money, you know, even the way you handle your health. Like there's so many different things about the Bible that if you're trying to follow it would change you.
Yeah.
And how you are in relationships.
That's a good point.
So
and all the things that we're trying, like, you know, because as men that don't follow scripture, you know, that was me at one point, and like all these things I'm trying to like get women to understand and get women to do, you know, really, if I was following scripture, they would see me doing it, and then they would do it, and like that's the thing. Like we're trying to tell people what to do, and we're not doing it ourselves. You know, and it, like when you follow, you know, and no one's perfect, like you said, but when you try to, you know, follow it the best that you possibly can, then your actions speak louder than your words, and you don't sit here and have to talk to your blue in the face. And you realize that, you know, now I'm looking back and like now that he's changed my thinking, he's changed my brain, the way it operates. I'm looking back like, dang, I was wasting so much energy trying to like talk to people to get them to do what I needed them to do when I should have just been doing it myself. You know, preach the gospel, use words when necessary. You know, that's really how, you know, that's how you do it, man. You know, and I'm seeing my son, all the things I've been trying to get him to do for years, he's just doing them now with ease. Yeah, it's just natural.
And why is that? Really, when it comes down to it, the best leader leads by
example. Yep.
There you go.
Exactly, man. That's good stuff, man.
I have to say that, man. I feel like I've noticed in my own personal walk, you know, like with God and without God, right? You know, I have a son. He's almost grown now, but he's probably one of the most stubborn kids. You know, like
they all are. We are.
But yeah. But you know, some are more stubborn than others.
Yeah,
right?
True.
Some of them will follow the line quicker.
True.
But I've noticed the best way to affect him is to change me.
Yep.
And it's so crazy. It's so crazy because people talk about like, oh, the different parenting methods and all this stuff. But really, when it comes down to it, the best way to get him in the right direction is get myself in the right direction. And I'm telling you,
there it is.
He follows suit right away.
Yeah.
I was like, every which way you think about it, like even just starting to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Start taking care of myself.
Now he's starting to take care of himself.
Yeah. It just.
Yep.
It's just crazy how that works.
He's eating right.
Yeah.
We have a calendar. We have a family calendar. We have a board that shows what our goals and what we plan on, our trajectory of things, life, whatnot. He has that set up in his room. He's got a board where he has a check and balance. He's able to now check him, take accountability and check himself and look at his own personal board and his own personal goals and check them off as he has them listed or as he finishes them or accomplishes them. So, we think our kids aren't watching us, but they definitely, they're definitely watching us. And it's our responsibility as parents and leaders, not just parents, because other people watch us as well, is to lead by example.
And to touch on what you guys just said and to bring back something earlier when you were asking for some advice as us being parents, what I learned is like, our kids don't need to be told what to do. They need to be guided.
Sure.
They just need guidance. Like that's why there's guidance counselors in school. They just need guidance, man. And like, you don't have to tell them exactly what they need to do. You just have to guide them so that they can figure it out. If the more we learn about them and the more we listen to them, the better we can guide them. And man, I know your son's gonna do great, man. Because you're learning all this stuff now, man.
Well, absolutely. I'm grateful for having these conversations.
For real.
Because I'm learning a lot, like you said, through other people's perspectives. This is the first time in my life that I've really listened to what other people had to say. I'm not afraid to say that. I kind of floated through life and just was like, all right, whatever. Like I never really paid attention to the wisdom that other people had to provide. Everyone has wisdom. Every single person you've ever met has imparted some wisdom onto you, and it's within you, or it's up to you to find that and accept that. And so I'm not gonna lie, I spent most of my life just like not listening, not really hearing, or hearing but not taking it in. And so I'm really grateful to have these conversations with so many people, so many great people, and to really listen and hear and make myself better, through that wisdom that everyone has to impart. So appreciate you guys being here, man. It's so awesome to have these talks and these discussions, dude.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything that you're doing here and allowing us to have a safe place to be transparent and to share what's on our hearts, man. And like with guests and people that we bring on, man, I really just want people to talk about like what's on their heart, man. What is that's really what we need to get to quickly. Is
Absolutely.
Like, what's the biggest thing on your heart right now? Like I started asking those questions like when I was out, like what's on your heart right now?
Yeah.
Like they kind of blown away. And then they're like, well, you know what, actually? And then they start going off and you're like, oh, okay. All right. So now I see like what you're passionate about right now. That's like the quickest way to figure out what someone's passionate about is ask them what's on their heart.
Yeah.
So what's on your heart, sis, right now? What's on your heart, B?
It's on my heart.
This is your platform, man. Like, what's the biggest thing, like, that you would like to, get out there? Like, I mean, obviously, you guys have some great guidance that you guys just told us about, marriage and relationships and children. And I mean, you guys are like a well of knowledge. And
we've had to learn. We've had to bump our head a couple times. We've had to, make mistakes and then learn from them. And that's the biggest thing is, we're human. All of us are human beings, and we're going to fall short of the glory of God. We're going to fall short in our marriages and in different relationships that we come in contact with, friendships. And so my takeaway is be transparent and accountable. accountability is so critical.
Yes.
And just, overall, listen.
It keeps coming up, bro.
Listen.
Those are definitely the key words around here.
Listen.
Yeah. Accountability.
With
Listen.
comprehension.
Accountability and listening.
Listen
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
comprehension. You can listen to somebody talk.
Sure, you can hear someone talk.
They can talk.
Yeah.
But are you digesting it and
Right.
then being able to be edified and apply it somewhere?
Right.
Because somebody's telling you something. God is maybe using someone
Yes.
Exactly.
to tell you something that he's been knocking at your heart to try to tell you. But we're not paying attention to what he's trying. We're so busy in the day-to-day that we don't sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn that,
Mm-hmm.
being still.
Still learning.
And still learning.
I know, right?
When Brandon and I got together and when we married and stuff, I was always I was so busy. It was like, when are you gonna when are you gonna just relax?
Yeah.
Just enjoy the moment and take it in. We think we have to go all the time, but Jesus rested.
Yes.
What makes us any bigger or better than him? And he's rested.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
The power of rest.
power of rest
That's awesome.
and being still.
Being still, power of rest, wow, those are some great things. And overall, just peace, just having your peace is so
Peace
important.
is
And,
the key.
and think
Yeah.
about it. If you can get your peace now, when you do rest, you're going to rest in peace.
There you go.
So you get your peace now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is where it's
I don't want to
at.
think about resting in peace, but I got you.
No, of course.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no days promised.
I hear you.
So
You're right. You're right.
Get your peace right now.
Yeah.
Get it now, and it takes work. It takes work to get your peace. It takes work to keep your peace sometimes.
Sure.
But man, it's nice. It's nice. I have more peace than I have ever had these days. And it's just been trusting him, because a lot of things that were disturbing my peace was things I was trying to figure out on my own. I was like, dang, I'm spinning my wheels, man. I should have just been trusting him the whole time. Now that I'm trusting him, I'm just walking, it's a lot easier. It's not, there's still some difficult times sometimes, but man, it's taking such a load off of me, man. Just to let him carry it, cast it on him. I love you, man. Help me, pray, power of prayer. We were talking about that, man. It's so amazing. Prayer is truly amazing. I man, I don't know what I would do without it.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can catch all of our episodes on YouTube and Spotify at Better Gents Podcast, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Better Gents Pod. Thank you and take care.